is your Lovepreneurship podcast. We are taking it to the next level. I am your host, Michael Afwani Hex. I got the Empress Sharifa taking it to the next level. We are about to make our wish because we are talking about digitally rich, being digital rich in this era. Too many people are being concerned with this particular phenomenon. They're even so much so giving their real money just to be digitally rich, right? Just to have this digital real estate, right? Just to be able to take themselves to the next level. So you got to be able to take your wish to the next level by being able to control your financial future, the way that you create your assets, because your ability to create assets is what's going to take you to that next level. We got our host here, and we're going to be talking about leveling up with care because that is one of the entries, one of the programs that we have been had the pleasure of taking to the next level. One of our clients that we appreciate in enrolling in our course that is going to take her grant experience to the next level. And so she's definitely have had some learnings from it and some things that we're also going to talk about, some concepts that we added that she is also going to be able to take herself to the next level. But before we begin, give the people an introduction of who you are again. Always remind them, tell them about what you do and how you can take their life to the next level, sister.
Thank you. Thank you. Greetings, beautiful ones. I am the Empress Sharifa. I am a life coach. The name of my coaching program that we're promoting now is Level Up with Care. I've been coaching for a few years now, and it's just something that's near and dear to me. Again, I'm a mental health advocate. And if you hadn't seen previous shows, I talk about how I've dealt with, depression and having panic attacks and just that the feeling of being alone. And so I know how it feels. So it just seems like the God gave me the responsibility to dive head into that, and really talk about it and talk about because we it's still a stigma in our community. We're hiding it. We're acting like it doesn't really exist, and people are talking about it now, which is great. But we should never stop talking about it. It's because you hear a few people over here talking about it. We should stop talking about it and bringing awareness about mental health and how important that is. So yeah,
Amen.
a little bit about me. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. And I am, and if you didn't know, I'm in Nairobi, Kenya. So that's why it's dark here. It's nighttime. It's about 7:13 p.m. But we gonna make it happen. No matter what way, what time of day, we gonna make it happen. So
Amen. Amen.
yeah.
Sister is a walking example of being able to connect back to the motherland. Despite what the colonizers' lies were. This is something that we as a people must make more common, more comfortable. Our ability to connect and protect and connect, with our people on the continent and abroad. And so once we realize that we are the majority, no longer the minority, we're all going to stand up. And so that's what we're going to give you right now. We're going to give you all that encouraging information you need. So let's get into the teaching. Let's get into the learnings. And let me know as we're going. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So let's get into it. So, twin, it's time to shatter the myth that success has to take years of waiting. In our digital rich family, we don't procrastinate on our dreams, we grab them on. This module pushes you to multiply your return on investments immediately by seizing quick wins and making powerful moves today, not someday. Right? So, how often are we procrastinating on our dreams? How often are we waiting for all clear skies? Not realizing that today you have something that somebody needs. Today you have something that somebody would be able to better their life with. And the more that we tap into the psychology of momentum, right? Small wins gives your brain a dopamine boost to keep going, right? We gotta how do you say build it up, right? We gotta build up the momentum for ourselves and the spirituality of trusting that you are worthy of blessings and lessons right now is the key, right? So together we will turn urgent belief and knowing into urgent action. So you see tangible results in your grant writing and business launch this week, or better say, how we say this strong, right? So ready to stretch that ROI, Ken? So you got to dive into your step-by-step challenge to make it happen. So what's step number one, right? Step number one is what? Great question. Set an immediate ROI goal, right? So what is your return on investment goal? So first define what ROI means for you in the context of grant writing and your business launch. So is it more funding secure, more clients, or a greater impact, right? You got to be clear about that, right? So what are you trying to get done? And so I'll ask that to you, sister, and you can kind of talk that back to us. So if you don't mind us asking, what would be your number one goal that you're trying to get done? Is it more funding secured, more clients, or more general impact for your business?
Mm. I would probably say more general impact.
Amen, 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 amen. Nice, nice. And
Mhm.
what would be some examples or some metrics that of that impact, if you don't mind asking?
Some examples. What do you mean by that? Some examples.
So when we say like greater impact, so for us, for example, we wanted to be able to feed 5,000 families through our food bank. So that's one particular goal that we set out for ourselves. Another goal is for us to be able to make 3x for our clients. And so that means that
Mm.
if they put out 3,000, we want to be able to make them 9,000, right? So different
Right.
ways, different things that. So is there any kind of general goals that you kind of already have created out or thought about for leveling up with care for the people that
Yeah,
they
I did I want more people to know that I am here, that I am a coach, that this program does exist. More people across the board, not just people in the US, people also here in Kenya as well.
Yeah,
So I definitely want to reach to grow further. But for me, it's not about how many clients. It's just for people to know that I'm here, that I exist. Right. I'm then I'm just not just on podcasts talking about what I do. I want people to actually know that I'm out here and I'm doing the work. That I'm helping people in their lives. Um,
amen,
the-
amen, sister.
yeah.
That sounds to me like there from the three options, more clients sounds like more what your vibration is. And so, what type of
Okay.
clients are you looking for, if you don't mind us asking, sister?
Hmm. Well, initially, well, the strange thing is initially I just only had like maybe a couple of male clients. That was my male clients or over 40 actually. That's who initially I was the initially the people that came to me. But I'm open to both men and women. Both
Amen.
men and women. Um and as far as the age, I don't that's something we probably need to really go into because I mean, as far as the numbers are concerned, like the younger um, children, not children, excuse me, the younger adults are the ones that are really suffering the most. Um, with mental health or just with issues, especially dealing with relationships, right? Because that's one of my specialties too. They're dealing with relationships. That's like one of the big ones. Um, so I don't know. I need to. I'm thinking maybe I maybe need to be a little more open when it comes to that. But again, that's something that I know we are working through. Working the kinks through getting the program together. So
That's good. And that hits it on the head. And that's one thing we want everyone to be thinking about on the Lovepreneurship podcast. And as we're building out our launch for our business to become digitally rich, because again, that's our goal. Thinking about that audience, because the more that you think about that audience, the more that is going to be clear to you who you're reaching, who you're looking for. And so we just want to be able to start to think about, what that person looks like so you can start to visualize them. Because the more that you visualize them, the more that you start to think about what they need, the more that they start to show up because they might be a Christina Hernandez, right? As somebody who wants to be able to take themselves to the next level. And so we just have to be able to start to think about them. So I do like kind of some things that you already mentioned, or you already mentioned, they might be somebody going through relationships. They might be somebody looking for a relationship. It might be somebody in a relationship. They also might be somebody looking to travel, somebody going through mental stress, mental fitness, somebody who's also entrepreneur, somebody who's looking to create their own business. So someone a lot like you usually is always the prototype to go with. So if you're not sure on what that audience looks like, you should always use you first as the basis, as the kind of example to what works. Because at the minimum, your content or your content should help you, motivate you
Right.
to do what you need to do is the first direction. If anybody should be reached, it should be a similar woman like yourself, because that's
Mm.
the easiest person. So a similar male like myself looking to better himself and his family and take himself to the next level will always resonate with me because
Mm.
that's exactly the person I am. And so we want to always
Right.
be able to give that to people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect, perfect. So paint a clear vision of a 1 to 3 improvement that excites you, right? And commit to accelerating it now, right? So embrace the mindset that you deserve to see progress today, right? By setting a bold, specific goal. For example, I will secure 2 new grant leads or sales this week, right? It's going to change your life. Because what happens is you signal to your brain and the spirit that it is the time is now, right? So no more 1 day fantasies, right? Decide what today's win will be, right?
Mm.
Speak it into existence and confidence. And so the actionable step or the action step we want you all to take and like, share, subscribe if this is making sense, right? Write down one quantifiable outcome you will achieve in the next 24, 72 hours that will boost your ROI. For example, submitting 1 extra grant proposal or reaching twice as many prospective customers by tomorrow, right? So this is your immediate challenge target. Homework is to create a simple plan, right? It got to be simple, but not easy. It's going to be simple, but not easy. Just because it's simple don't mean it's easy. You do want to keep it simple, right? But it's not going to be easy to get there for how you hit that target today, right? So that might mean reallocating an hour tonight to draft that grant application or launching a quick promotion, right, for your products by today's end, right? So break the task into small steps and schedule them right away into your calendar, right? And so does any of that make sense to your sister?
Mm-hmm. It does. Like
Excellent.
many, like many goals.
Many goals. Excellent. Which
Mm.
which part which part do you feel might be the hardest for us to get done, or which part, or better said, or which part, when we're talking about a simple plan, is there a target that comes to mind? Better question.
Um, I guess for me, just it would be probably even something simpler than that. You know what I mean? Maybe a goal could be just maybe getting like, one client a week. You know what I'm saying? Um, because I don't want to be too overwhelmed. Um,
That's good.
that's why I do like the mini goals, or how we can just create a bigger goal and break it down into smaller pieces.
No, that's good. That's wherever you want to start, sister. So that's perfect. So the goal for the next 24 to 72 hours is for us to get 1 prospective new client, right?
Mm,
We already are talking about the people that we can do more administrative work for. So that could be 1 prospective client for you. But I
mm,
also think there are so many more clients that we can reach out to achieve this goal. And so we just want to break that up. Think about how you want to approach them. So whether it's with a sponsorship letter, I think it's best to do, or an
mm,
introduction of your product or service via a digital link. So that's definitely why we are on that process now on the back end, creating that digital product for yourself so that you have something to approach the grantors and the sponsors with, if that makes sense.
mhm. Okay.
Excellent, excellent. So the goal is to share your quick ROI win goal with our digital rich family, right? Because we are posting on Instagram, we're posting on Telegram, we're posting on YouTube, we're all across, right? So accountability turns up the heat. We got to be able to hold each other accountable and cheer each other on in order to get there to the win. Twin, you did. So step 2, leverage, right? You got to leverage quick wins for momentum. So that now that you've created a target, we got to go after those low hanging fruit, right? We got to immediately move the needle. We got to focus on that 20% of action that really yields 80% of our results. This is the funny thing about life, because it's a lot like life, right? How is it that 10% of the people in life have 90% of the money, right? Let me repeat
Mm,
that because the people don't really hear what I'm saying. 10% of the people in life own 90% of the money, right? So that means
mm.
90% of us are fighting over 10%. That's how to
Wow.
look at what I'm saying. That's how to look
Mhm.
at what I'm saying. It's real. and it's what it feels like. So it's almost better to be rich, right? It's what the mind says. You're right, right? It's better to be in the 10% where there's more wealth to share around than being in the 90% where there's less wealth to share around. These are just the facts, right? These are just the truth. It's what we mean when we say get to the other side, right? Of wealth and abundance, because you will be able to focus on 20% of your actions and it will yield 80% of your results. And so that looks like what they call Pareto's principle, right? Pareto's principle is what is what reminds us, so if you save 20%, or better said, 20% of your customers, for example, will ultimately be where 80% of your revenue comes from. Is another way to look at that, right? So what does that mean? What does that look like for us as we go on this journey of becoming digitally rich, right? So as we go on this journey of becoming digitally rich, we got to focus on who or how we're making our money. We got to focus on how we're connecting with our people, right? And realizing that it's important that we give our people that, would you like fries with that? We got to think about their full customer journey, right? The more that we think about our people's customer journey, what they're going through. So basically, think about it like this is a gold rush, right? And so many people went to California during the gold rush, and some people went to California to the gold rush with shovels with them, right? Some people came looking for gold. Some people came to give the people looking for gold what they needed. You dig? So while we as business owners are also looking and creating our own digital gold, we are also creating digital gold by providing people the shovels they need to build their life, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so that's always our goal, is to build our own digital gold there, because that is how we'll become digitally rich. Again, what does that look like? This is true because people are giving their real life wealth, right? Their real life money, just to have attention online, right? So that's starting to tell you that attention dollars, or these digital dollars are going to soon mean a lot more, right? This digital attention that we're garnering, that we're seeking to get better at being able to monetize attention and views, right, is what allows a lot of ad revenue, or what allows them to be able to do impressions, right? And so those same impressions is why emailing or email marketing is so critical, right? Because email marketing becomes now your reoccurring checking point, your reoccurring way to let them know what you're going on or what you're doing for your particular business in this particular month. It also allows them to become top of mind whenever you send something out and they have a mental fitness problem, or a level up or care problem. That allows them to be able to see, okay, my sister's still doing this. Let me reach out to her and she can help me with that. And so that's one area I definitely want us to focus on in this season, is more of the email marketing and the SMS marketing. And so there's in terms of email or SMS marketing, is there any of those two that you kind of prefer? Do you prefer more email or SMS marketing?
Um, to be honest, probably SMS, because I know email. The only thing about email marketing is I'm thinking it from a client perspective or a customer perspective. I don't always look at my emails, so people send me things and I don't always open them, so I'm thinking SMS might be a better route. What do you think?
I agree. I agree. Now, we're actually looking to do more SMS marketing in our season. We kind of naturally do that with the way we communicate with our clients. But to your point, with Mailchimp, for example, they have an SMS marketing campaign that they're actually looking us to complete an application for. So yes, I am looking to do more SMS marketing ourselves. But definitely email marketing, is just kind of the older way people know
Yeah.
now. Funny enough, now email is becoming old, right? That's how quick this world is moving, right? In that the way we look at things. So yes, I agree. It's for us. The main thing is just we're able to make emails for free at this moment. Um,
All right.
so to your point, SMS too. You can also make SMS numbers for free, Google numbers for free, Google Voice numbers in particular. So that is true as well as that goes too. So it really just depends on your cup of tea. I do see that more people are more texters. They like to text more and they respond quicker
Mm,
to their texts. So that definitely is probably going to be where we should focus in this season.
mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good. All right. All right. So we're getting close to the end for this lesson here. Do you have any questions for us as we're cooking out?
No, so far, no, you on the money.
Hey,
You
hey.
on,
Thank you,
yeah.
sister. Thank you, sister. And for because again we have 20 minutes on this live. I wanted to also make sure we give a 5 minute opportunity to read the downloadable that you were discussing, that you
Yeah.
were able to check out, and then also to then give a 5 minute level up with care talk. I kind of wanted that to be a new series that you do, where you just kind of speak to the heart space of the people, level up with care, and then we'll also clip that and also put that on social media more. So definitely feel free to do that when you get a moment.
Okay. So what I wanted to mention was the fact that in the course, one of the best parts for me is when you're done with the with not a course, but was it each module? When you're done with a module, then there is a self-assessment that you do before you go on to the next module. So that makes the self-learning process even better, right? Because sometimes learning on your own, if you're not used to doing these modules and things on your own, this definitely helps. Just to make sure, it looks like it helps to make sure that you even really understand, right? What the module was about. So I can appreciate that. I just wanted to read a couple of things that's on this module, if that's okay.
Thank you, sister.
Um, this one is just module one, lesson one, the self-assessment for foundational success. Question mindset and vision for success. Do you see the bigger picture? What is the long-term vision for my business? And is it clearly defined? You're asking me this, you're making sure before I go on to the next. Is the vision for your business, is it clearly defined? Am I operating with an abundance mindset, or do I often make decisions from a place of fear? I think that's good. Again, you're kind of making sure that I'm in a certain mindset even before I go to module two. This is just module one, self-assessment. I think that's dope. Have I built daily habits that align with the person I want to become? Now you're coaching me, right? You're coaching me before I even move on. To the level up. There's levels to this. And so another one, have I legally structured my business in a way that protects me and sets me up for funding opportunities? Do I have a clear business model, or am I still figuring out how I generate consistent income? I really appreciate this. And then you wrote, every great journey begins with clarity, right? God is clarity. God is clear. God is not author of confusion, right? So this is love. This God is love. Love is God, right? So you're already giving love right here. Every great journey begins with clarity. Before you build wealth, success, or impact, you must build the right mindset. This self assessment will help you understand where you are now and what shifts are necessary to move forward with power and purpose. This is not just about what you know, it is about what you are ready to implement. So I like this, that it's like, okay, let's get it together. And then so the thing about it, so if you answer and you have a multitude of questions, you have like 20 questions before I even go on to the next module. And that thing, and I'm like, and if I can't answer these questions, then I know I'm gonna need help, right? I'm gonna have to reach out, because I personally want to be able to answer all these questions, so that I can get, I want to, you know, um, take advantage of the whole program, everything that's included. That's important to me, to make sure I get everything I'm supposed to get. So I did want to mention that I do like that,
Amen,
those
sister.
supplements,
Amen,
that,
sister.
yeah, want to put that out there so they can know this is a part of the program as well. Um,
And you hit it on the head, and I love the quote you just said. Every great journey begins with clarity. That's a mic drop in and of itself. Gotta drop the mic
yeah.
on. That's hard. That's truth. That's real. That's definitely every great journey begins with clarity, and so that's what we should always seek before we begin anything. Especially because everything that we do should be great. Every journey that we step, everything that we're engaged in needs to be with clarity, especially if we expect it to be great. So that's a big one. It's a big one. I think you already started your. That might be the topic for the level up with care concept for today. So talk to the people. In terms of the level up with care talk of the day. Speak to their heart space and talk to them because I know this is going to be a social media viral one.
Yeah. Yeah, so leveling up with care, and this is like a perfect example because you don't want to just you want to level up, but you want to make sure you are cared for, that you have this space to be cared for while you're growing and evolving, right? You don't want to just like some people, like they get rich early, right? They get rich at 16, and what usually happens is they're broke within the next couple of years. You get money too fast, you blow it, you don't know what to do with it, you don't have that care, right? um because you get it so fast. And for me, the level up with care is step by step. um I want to make sure that you are leveling up slowly, right? Or at your own pace. And with care, you have this space. Because sometimes when you're when you're trying new things or when you're trying to figure out life, sometimes you're doing good. You're going right. I'm doing good. I'm on okay. Step one, step two, step three, step four. Something happens. You fall off, right? You get distracted, but they say life be life, and right. Um, and sometimes, when we have to, when we're dealing with certain things, sometimes we go through, that's when that mental health kicks in. We start having this mind chatter, right? When we're going to the next level in our lives, everything that's all our traumas and all that, it comes to surface, right? These things really happen when you're going to that next level, because your mind is like, what are we doing here? The mind is a beautiful thing. It's good for memorization. It's good for memories. It's good, to add, subtract. I need to figure this out. But it's not always good for understanding the level up, the next level that you're going to. Because sometimes the mind it can be scary. The mind can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. The mind can only tell you what happened yesterday, last year, a few minutes ago. But it can't. My mind can't tell me what's going to happen in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So you need somebody when you're on this level up journey. No matter what you're doing, you need that space, that sacred space, to be able to really open up, right? Share what you're going through. Talk about your fears, or the things that may be holding you back, or you may not even know what's holding you back. That's why I come in at, right? To help you figure out what's the stumbling block, or what's going on, what's the hold up, and then we talk about the relationships, we talk about that, how you might your perspective, your mate, as you're doing this level up, sometimes unfortunately you could be trying to level up, but your person might not. You know what I'm saying? So that could play a big part on your level up journey as well. So, and I understand all of that. I get it, all of that, all the mental health part of the leveling up. And so that's why I say level up with care. You want to level up, but you want to make sure you always had that sacred space to be able to share exactly what you need to share, and those just those nuggets, nuggets as you go, step by step, those little nuggets that I have to offer, the knowledge and the wisdom that I've acquired over the years. And like I say, when I talk to you, I give you advice or whatever it is, this is from experience. This is things that I do, or I suggest that you do. These are things that I do, or that I've done, or that I've experienced. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think
come on, sister. Man, give us a round of applause there, man. Always speaking to our heart space, always doing the right job right there, because this is what it means, but with care, just in the way that she's always expressing it, always living it, because it's just something you feel, that gene regulation, that upward gene regulation thing that she does when she speaks, right? It takes us to the next level. And it's important that we do that for one another in this day of life, in this day of time, right? Where because it's important that we're encouraging, right? Because when we're talking about being digitally rich, right? A lot of this is mental, right? A lot of these are mental games, mental battles that we have to get through, right? Because ultimately we're expressing our life to people on the open internet, right? We're living life openly, right? Because we were taught as a people to silence ourselves. We were taught as a people to only use our bodies, right, and not our minds, right?
Mm.
So we're constantly only being valued from what our physical body brings us, and not really being told how important our mind is, right? So what we're doing right now, pushing our mind forward, being able to think about concepts that all don't even exist yet, being able
Right.
to be in different countries and still being able to find that connection, that protection, right? Being able to still make time, right? Even through time zones is critical, right? Because we're building a resiliency and a connection that our people need to see, right? We need to be able to be here, not only in Houston, but also be in Houston of the East, right? Which is now Kenya, right? Yeah, however we want to look at it, right? Houston, this is Kenya of the West over here. You feel me? However, yeah, we need to think about it to feel more home, right? Because it all belongs to us, right? Even
And it's
our
funny
little.
because like Waco, Texas, I noticed they have the 254
Mm,
or 24525. It's the same area code as Kenya. I tripped out about
oh
that.
wow, oh wow, wow, wow. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm trying
yeah.
to figure out the connection. Like, what is the connection between Waco, Texas, and Kenya? Hmm.
I mean, you already know with them saying that one. You know what I mean? Because they're always trying to do their cultures through us. Through the way that they think about these things. And so
Mm,
it's they're always copying us, man. They're always copying us. And so it's
mm.
little brother syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Little cousin syndrome going
Right.
on. You know what I mean? They pretending they don't see it, but they know we know. And it's more important that we know and that we show, and that we also show others, right? Because that is the number one thing that they don't expect us to do, is to share, right? Is to share our resources with each other. They expect us to be stingy like them, right? They expect us to overlove money and not love each other, and not love
Right.
the connection with each other, and not be able to reach out to each other and get help, right? So our
Mm,
biggest asset, our biggest protection in this day and time is our love for one another. It really is, because it's the biggest thing the enemy always miscalculates, right? He always will be able to, or never be able to fully get why we do the things the way we do, and it's that love factor that allows us to keep regenerating and to have that resiliency and push
yeah.
through the hard times. So we just want to leave the people with that, because it's important that you level up with care, right? It's important that you become that lovepreneur, that you build that lovepreneurship with your family, right? Whether it's being an entrepreneur, whether it's through your business, whether it's as an individual, whether it's your product, your service, whether it's through your grants, right? Whether it's through your trading, right? Whether it's through your hair braiding, right? I didn't know, actually, do you braid hair over there?
No, I don't. I don't braid hair, but they got so many braiders and
I
oh
already know
man,
they do. I already know
yeah,
they do in Kenya. It's a
yeah,
it's, it's a big thing out there. What about locks though? I know you do locks twisting because you got locks.
yeah. I could do retwists. Yeah, I could do retwists,
Oh
but
yeah,
I don't. Yeah, yeah, I do
that
that. But
I
and
think
you,
that what you about to say?
no, I was gonna say, and like how like in the states, when women like to go get their nails and their feet, and men too sometimes get pedicures and stuff. It's usually the I think I want to say the Asian persuasion. Here's all Kenyan.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Now we just be taking care of ourselves, man.
I
In Africa, that's real talk, real
mm,
talk. So no, to your point, I would say that's something else to consider. Level of care, lock twist. That can also be a component. I would say think about that one. Being that because you got nice locks, so that would be the selling point itself. And that's a hairstyle that I know is naturally growing in Nigeria and Africa. The more lock look, you know what I mean. So think about that one
mm,
too, as we're also, because again, what it's about, it's like because you're an investor. Investors
mhm,
make money in all ways. That's a true investor makes money in all markets. You feel me? And when
mhm,
we say all
mhm.
markets, we don't just mean the up and down markets. We mean if I like it. You feel me? So if you like hair, then get into hair. You feel me? And so just something else to think about as we're building out the product or service, because yeah, and even a lot of times, to your point too, that can even be a partnership with the hair braider, because now you're not
Yeah,
maybe stepping on their toes because they really
that's what
do
I was.
braiding.
Yeah, I could always hire a couple of women. That way, now I'm helping someone else, like feed their family, right? That's which
Hmm.
is why we're here in Africa, right? To be able to bring our knowledge, right, to them.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen. And and the
Mm,
goal and the
we don't
goal and the
take,
goal to also.
we're here to give.
Yeah,
Right.
straight up. And what I'm thinking is to always keep it like clean for you is we'll have the level up with care course built, right? So that when you do approach them, right, you're already approaching them with a course built out, right? That you could talk to them with about. Because
Yeah.
that's a lot of times really what I'm seeing is even if it's even if they don't necessarily have a need right now for the loctician, you still are always coming with what you do, which originally would be the mental fitness, the course in that aspect, right? And so you can still, again, would you like fries with that? In terms of like mental fitness coaching for their staff, or do a work or free work, or a lot of time what we do, right? Free turns into paid. So coming to them, asking if you can do a mental workshop, a free mental workshop on one of their days, right? Which will lead into one-on-one consultations based on people that you connect with. So kind of casting that big net first, and again the conversions, right? Because it's always about always knowing that from the big, we don't expect everybody to respond ever, right? We only expect a couple, but we should always be tracking who we're reaching out to, who we're becoming the fishermen of men for on this internet, right? So we always got to pay attention to who's reaching
Mhm.
back out to us, and that'll be the way that we kind of speed up the process on this, and becoming digitally rich. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right, all
Makes
right.
sense.
We were cooking. We was cooking over here, sister. You was leveling up with care. Give the people, where they can find you. What are some of the things that you're thinking about in this season? Because next one we're gonna do that more. We're gonna get back into our mental care, our mental health care focus. So definitely, I want you to also prepare a PowerPoint for them for the next workshop. So give the people a preview of what we're going to be talking about for the next episode, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, first, I want to say that I want to give out my social media handles. If that's okay. I'm on Instagram on the Empress underscore Sharifa, the Empress underscore Sharifa, Sharifa. And I'm on YouTube. This Ms. BJ Martin, MS BJ Martin. You can have a few videos on what I do and what I talk about. So you can get to know me a little more and learn more about my background, which I have no problem sharing that. See, when you get into these courses with me, right? When I you getting this level up with care programs, you're gonna get everything. I'm gonna lay it all out for you, right? You're gonna find out just who I am, because I have no secrets, right? Um and and what else am I supposed to do? Look, this is how when you laugh. Wait.
Hey, you was cooking. You cooking. You doing good. You doing good. Just talk to the people about just what some mental health concepts or precepts that you're going to be talking to them about next time, and just some things you want to leave them on with.
Yeah, I think next time we'll focus more on just I think just certain things that you can do to maintain your mental health. Yeah, actually, I got some good stuff I do want to talk about. I have like good 5 good points how to protect your peace. 5 good points on how to protect your peace. That's what we're going to talk about next time. And I don't want to tell you yet. And some of these are just reminders, right? Some of these are just reminders. Sometimes we forget. We're so busy in autopilot, right? And we're going. Things are happening that some of these things you already know. So I'm just here to reiterate them for you, like to be your friendly reminder, right? Remember, like, this is not, you don't do this, and I'm not telling you what not to do. I'm just suggesting. Um, what you should maybe possibly consider, right? So yeah, we'll be talking about that next go around, how to protect your peace. And this is for men and women. Okay, this is for all of us. Um, all of us can use some of this peace, right? Yeah.
Amen, sister. Amen, sister. Amen, sister. And as you were speaking it too, I'm definitely thinking we can make it more on the energy of our relationships, and so how to protect your peace within relationships. So I'm thinking so within marriage relationships, within
Mhm.
business relationships, within like personal inter or family you started with, family you're building relationships, so
Okay.
those because those can also have four different dynamics too, because you may also be coming from a past relationship, you may be coming from a new relationship and things of that nature. And so definitely just wanted to cover the gamut there. So if you can kind of think about those aspects for the people so that we can really, what I mean, get into more of the marriage concepts, because that's really the standard I'm seeing in our community that we need to get back to speaking about. And so the way to speak about that is really just what we're doing here is making it more of our standard, more of what we talk comfortably, and really get at the difficulties so that we can do a better job at it.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And on that note, this is the Lovepreneurship podcast. I am your host, Michael Ofwani X, taking it to the next level. This is what you needed to take yourself to the highest vibration. That is the Empress Sharifa. She gave you that woke knowledge, that level up with care knowledge, that thing you needed. That's always going to take you to the highest vibration. Why? Because you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? You have to be able to take care of yourself and have inner peace that is felt, right, with everybody around you, right? You have to be able to maintain that and protect that. And so in this era, we're seeing one of the ways to get really a clearer, digitally rich future is having that inner peace, right? You can't pour from a cup if your mental, right? It's hard. Your money mental will be messed up, or your money game will be messed up if your mental game is messed up, right? So you have to be able to take that easy, be able to really coach it, be able to really train it, right? Focus on your conversions, focus on your engagement, focus on the community you're building, right? Because these are the people that are going to support you when you need it most, right? It's going to be your 20% that will provide 80% of your revenue, right? So it's your minority, it's the people that love you, right? We're always focused on the people that don't love you, but focus
Mm.
more on the people that love you, right? And that's right. That
Ooh.
might
And that's so funny you said that, because I was thinking about that when I was getting ready to come here. I said people are always focusing on who don't love you. Focus on who love you. Focus on who's in front of you right now. If they're not in front of you right now, don't worry about it.
come on,
Don't worry
sister.
about it.
Come on.
Yes, I was
That's
that
that's the
today.
concept. Yeah, that might really be the topic for the next one. You just said it right there. Focusing on people. So let's make that the PowerPoint for them. If you can come up with that one for our next one, focusing on
Okay.
people that love you as opposed to people that don't, right? Because that
Yes.
is that is a nature of life, right? We tend to
Yeah.
always focus on our distractors, but not how many people were uplifted by what we said, right? So let's focus
Mm-hmm.
on the people that love you. Focus on the people that are taking you to the next level, right? Because you got to be able to pour from a cup that is full, right? And you got to be able to love the people that you're pouring into. Because the more that you do that, the more that it's going to be felt, the more it's going to resonate, and the more the whole is going to build. So keep leveling up with care. Keep being that lovepreneur. Keep building your lovepreneurship, right? Again, what is that lovepreneurship? It's that mompreneur, that dadpreneur, that childpreneur, all coming together for family business, right? And so we got to come together and we got to stay strong because we don't do nothing weak over here. You dig? And on that note, we closing out. Yes, sir.